people always ask us, well, did you cherry pick the universe? There's some other replicators out there that have far fewer contracts. We trade more contracts. Our top down has two versions, a small universe, a big universe. Like what actually changes when you change the universe? So we explored this from a couple angles. And I like this approach that Steven took, and he did it for both the top down and the bottom up, where he basically started with the full universe and then asked the question, if I have to drop a contract, which contract has the least impact on tracking error? So you start with 27
Historic.
historically. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You start with 27 contracts and then you run all the 26 contract versions of both the top down and the bottom up and say which, if I dropped one, which 26 contract version had the least impact. And so he graphically plots this out to show which contracts get dropped first. And there's a couple interesting things that fell out of this for me. Some of these contracts ended up being more important than I thought. Some ended up being less important than I thought. Would love to get your thoughts. But the big one that stood out to me was when you start getting to less than 10 contracts, you absolutely maintain one contract in commodities, currencies, bonds, and equities. Like it really does require exposure to all four asset classes to minimize that tracking error to the SocGen index. And that's a question we get all the time. Like, do you have to trade equities? Well, if you're trying to replicate the index, almost certainly.
So it's like a highly path dependent and nonlinear process. I think it does a good job of highlighting that you need, like you said, at least an equity, a bond, a currency, and a commodity contract in the universe to get any kind of replication quality. But I do think it may understate the value of having a lot more, as many different and diverse contracts available to explain the returns of the benchmark over time, while the recent period has been dominated very strongly by equities, except for like maybe a couple of big trending periods for commodities. We have no idea what the future holds, right? So if we were to run this analysis 10 years from now, might look completely different in terms of which markets had the greatest impact on explaining the performance of the index over time. But we have high confidence it would still show that you need at least one commodity, one currency, one equity, and one bond in the portfolio to have any shot at a high quality replication.